Hey everyone, it's Zach with Palantir Research. Palantir has gone through a bumpy week, especially for us investors, speculators, traders, depending on how you played it. Some new and some who've been around for a while. It really doesn't matter. So we'll go through the week just to show where Palantir stands news-wise. With some I've covered, of course, in previous videos, but a lot of the smaller or quick stuff I've compiled here, like new customer links or institutional buyers. Of course, earnings we're going to cover briefly also, and then my perspective on all of this, especially with the recent volatility in the upwards and downward direction. So earnings first, I made a whole video here, so that's for more details after my digestion of the results, and the headline for me is the $1 billion buyback approval and meeting their own guidance, raising guidance for next quarter and the year, but also the expectations of Wall Street or even some new folks were not met, especially around the 13% year-over-year growth for the quarter. But that's actually within the expectations of the company. But there are a lot of leading indicators that I do go to into detail that make me very optimistic for the future. So there is a true bump in demand for AIP in my opinion, and remember that Q2 is only a partial quarter since AIP was announced in April. So Q3 will be a full quarter here and will be exciting to see how this turns out. So that's just a quick summary, but basically check out my video if you want the deeper details on what metrics are giving me a lot of optimism. Also, this week there was an announcement of a multi-year partnership with Azul Energy out in Angola. This entity is a 50-50 between BP and Eni, which is an Italian oil company. So it's a sparse deal with no details, of course, of the dollars or time frame, but I do talk a bit about the possible reasonings on my video on why this deal probably came to be. So now on the news side here that I haven't covered, Cathie Wood bought some more shares of Palantir this week, August 8th and August 9th. She bought around 940,000 shares across her different funds. This is after earnings and when the price dipped. Now, for me personally, I don't make my investment or buying decisions on this kind of activity, but it is at least newsworthy for the community to see that there are prolific big money, especially Cathie, making these kind of trades. Next, Ether Square tweets or X's about a couple new links this week from 8VC and the other being Novo Nordisk. 8VC is interesting for sure because they are invested in Palantir, so it's kind of a double whammy for them to possibly be using the software themselves and really putting their money where their mouth is. So of course, Ether Square is going to continue monitoring this. Then for Novo, they're a huge pharmaceutical play around $300 billion market cap. I know them mostly for their diabetes medicine, Ozempic. That's to help with insulin production. So we know Palantir is becoming a major player in the life sciences space, especially with drug research and discovery there. So we've seen news around in the past few weeks around that. It's always nice to see more expansion here. So I'm shouting out to Ether Square, all this great work, uncovering these potential clients and partnerships that are happening in the background. Now, next is Dan Ives. He's been making his rounds on the retail side of Palantir News post-earnings, doing an interview with Tom Nash that's already posted on YouTube for those who want to review it. Also, at least at the time of recording, it's going to happen on Friday, August 11th, 4 p.m. Central or 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Dan Ives will be on X Spaces with Arnie and Amit, so always great to check out what others are thinking about Palantir's business. Now, just a word of caution, we're in the age of information for sure, where the hard part isn't finding or getting info about something, but sifting through what is important for you and your investing thesis, so always keep that in mind. Now, this transitions perfectly to my own thoughts and opinions on this rocky week, or even past few weeks, I guess, if you want to take that into perspective. Now, if you've been in Palantir, of course, throughout 2022, I'm not sure if this really matters or if you felt the same way, but either way, it's not financial advice. But my preface is I'm long on Palantir and a bull and optimistic on their business, not only on the small clues in their official earnings and immaculate balance sheet, which gives them flexibility, of course, but also the qualitative factors like their mission that aligns with Western values, U.S. allies, major clients in the government and commercial sectors, especially healthcare, their business model, of course, creating true value and focus on real products that, yes, can be intrusive and difficult, but transformative at the same time to how businesses operate securely. And that's, of course, adding AI as well. And that's fine if you disagree. Everyone values not only the quantitative factors, which we can all see differently, but when you add those qualitative ones, that's when there's never going to be no two alike. So in regards to the volatility as a long-term shareholder who dollar cost average and happy with that position of a little over 5,000 shares, I've disclosed this many times before, this is just expected to happen when it comes to companies in a space like AI first that draws a lot of interest in buying but also selling once things quiet down. And if I'm overall optimistic for the future of the company and have a position I'm happy with, then this is just noise and will happen again and again for many more quarters to come. So it's nothing new here after all these years. So in the positive direction, but also in the negative direction, this is just always going to happen. Honestly, it's easier just to not look at the price and only review fundamentals of the company. But someone making content, it can be kind of tricky, but I literally just cover the screen from seeing the price when I don't need to know it. However, this can be another story if you're starting or changing a position. Valuation does matter a lot, of course, and it's always going to be something that's personal to you. More here, in my opinion, and finding a point where you're comfortable here. And no one can answer that for you except yourself. But honestly, for most investors, it is much easier on the psychological side, at least, doing the dollar cost averaging game because you're buying less when the price runs up and you're buying more shares when the price goes down. But still, this is still tricky when you take your whole risk profile into perspective. Just because you can buy individual stocks doesn't mean you should. What are your debts, obligations, risks like medical expenses, cash buffers, all those things? Is your job something that's stable? This all actually plays a role into a retail investor and if they'll actually be able to invest or if it's going to be comfortable for them because it's going to increase the risk, not only if the investment itself, but their personal situation. And this will never be exactly the same between two different people. But long story short, it's just another week, and considering basically zero bankruptcy risk, of course, for Palantir, this will continue to trade in markets, and we'll see quiet times, we'll see volatile times like this, where they go very fast up the leading weeks, but also coming back down. And even though it's at $15 a share, just remember for those who were back in 2022, you were actually half the price, around $7. I wouldn't be surprised to see any more price action, of course, in either direction, but we'll just have to see. But what are your thoughts on all this info? Let me know below, and I'll see you in the next video.